Well, he was pretty clear all week. He said, I'm tired of being at 13 sacks. He's been at 13 and a half the last couple years. Well, he's finally off that 13 number.
Micah Parsons' 2023 sack numbers did not slow down because of Micah Parsons. The effort and the ability was there. But what if I told you that in Week 13, Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks exposed a fatal flaw in the way the Cowboys run their coverages? And from that point on, each opponent prioritized getting the ball out quick to negate that ferocious Cowboys pass rush. Let's explore.
Hey, this is a test of how great we can be, right? Here we go.
So during the season, Week 13 really stuck out to me. And the reason why is because the story on Geno Smith all season was that he holds on to the ball way too long. So heading into that game, Dallas was putting up really great sack numbers, and I thought it was going to be sack city. I thought they were going to come away with 3-4 sacks minimum. And turns out Geno Smith actually started to deliver the ball with lightning fast speed during that game. The time to throw was a fraction of what it was during the rest of the season. They got it down at 2.54 seconds. The league average is 2.78 seconds. And through 12 weeks, the Cowboys' opponents averaged 2.8 seconds time to throw. It's a fraction of a second, but when you're talking about quarterback pressures versus quarterback sacks, that's all you need. That's all the time in the world. All right, and you look at these numbers that are on the screen here. Weeks 1 through 12, Micah Parsons, he had 11.5 sacks. All right, he came out the gate strong, was going strong through the mid-year. 50 pressures, was leading the league at that time. Still finished with the league in pressures in the end anyways. But as you can see, the opponent's average time to throw was 2.81 seconds. Now fast forward to when the Cowboys played Geno Smith and the Seahawks and beyond, the time to throw improved from 2.81 to 2.66, so opposing quarterbacks were getting the ball out much faster. Micah only had 2.5 sacks during that stretch, and he had 22 pressures, so his sack rate and his pressure rate decreased. His pressures still were amongst the league best. As I stated before, he did still finish with the lead league in pressures, but his sack numbers did go down. And it seems like common sense, right? If quarterbacks are getting the ball out faster, well, you're probably going to have less sacks. In fact, when you also include the average time to sack, which is 2.83 seconds, it only exemplifies that point further that Micah was remaining consistent. He was still getting pressures, all right? His pressures never really dipped. They slightly decreased during this stretch, but not to a point where it was anything concerning. And so in the final third of the season, opposing quarterbacks, opposing offensive coordinators, they made it a point to, in addition to attack the Cowboys on the ground to help negate that pass rush, when they do throw the ball, they're also going to get the ball out quick. Their receivers have to win off the line of scrimmage. They have to get open quick. And teams did that. But just think about it. If you're an opposing offensive coordinator, you're coming up to play against the Cowboys, what's your number one responsibility and priority? What's the first thing that comes to mind? What's your goal? Well, you know what? Gosh darn it, we've got to figure out a way to slow down that Micah Parsons. He's just too good. So, in addition to everything I just mentioned now, let's also take a look at double team rate. Oh, now would you look at that? This is just crazy. I can't believe it. Micah Parsons was double teamed at a higher rate than any other edge defender in the NFL. And it's not particularly close. Look at the groupings here, okay? And then you've got Myles Garrett, just kind of far and away from everybody else. And then you've got Micah Parsons even farther away from everybody else, okay? But wait a minute. Not only is he double teamed at a higher rate, he wins against the double team at a higher rate than anybody else. And this is for the entirety of the season. So Micah Parsons continued to fight through double teams to get to the quarterback, to put up pressures. He was still getting to the quarterback within the 2.8 seconds. The problem was when it was 2.5, 2.6 seconds, you can't get to the quarterback. Yes, you'll get lucky here and there. I did some analysis on TJ Watt as well. Same thing. He and Micah both occasionally get a sack at 2.5, 2.55 seconds. But it's not consistent. You cannot consistently get pressures converted into sacks in less than 2.7 seconds. It just is an inconsistent way of getting sacks. And to be clear, I'm not saying they're getting to the quarterback in 2.4, 2.5 seconds. I'm saying when they're in a game against a team that's averaging that 2.4, 2.5, 2.55 seconds, there will be plays that run longer at 2.8, 3 seconds. And those are the plays that you'll see where these guys are getting sacks. But the average for the game will still be down if they are getting the ball out quick in that 2.5, 2.55 range, and that's when you see the sack numbers for the game for not just the player but the entire team decrease as well in those kinds of games where it averages out to the faster time to throw number. The one thing about football that people fail to remember, and all of you, me included as well, we focus on one player and what's this guy doing, and we don't realize a lot of times this is the ultimate team sport. Micah's success, yes, a lot of it has to do with Micah. Some of it also has to do with the secondary. If you're looking at sacks alone, the secondary has to stick on their guy for a certain period of time to allow Micah to beat his block and get to the quarterback. If the corners are losing off the snap and allowing a guy to run free on a quick route, or it's schemed up poorly where guys are getting open quickly. I mean, there was one play against Green Bay, I remember quite clearly. Deron Bland was lined up like 12 yards off the tight end on like a 3rd and 3, and so Jordan Love just catches the ball out of shotgun, chucks it over to the left to the tight end real quick. Easy first down. Easiest first down I've ever seen in my life. And so yes, the scheme has to do with some of the poor coverage and losing off the snap as well, which in turn also, the whole point of this video, affects Micah. And guys, I don't want you to take this as nothing is Micah's fault. All right, I'm sure there's things Micah can do better. I'm sure he'll tell you himself there's things that he can improve on. You know he works his ass off to improve in the offseason. Look what he did with Whitworth last offseason. That was an out-of-the-box approach that seems to have helped as well in his development. So keep your eyes on this year. He's going to sign a big contract here with Dallas. He's not going anywhere. Y'all asking for a trade for Micah are out of your freaking minds. This is a generational talent, comes along possibly once in a lifetime. We might not see another guy like him on the Cowboys for the rest of our lives. I mean, this dude is an absolute freak of nature. And so, no, I think it's foolish to try to trade this guy for, 3 picks, 4 picks, and maybe you get a fraction of the talent this guy possesses. So no, don't trade Micah. As far as his podcasting stuff, I love it. I love the transparency, man. We ask for it all the time for these players to be more transparent, more real with us. Those canned answers are boring as hell. So I, for one, enjoy it. I like the podcast. I like what he's doing, what he's saying. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Micah Parsons. Let me know what you think. Is this a correlation doesn't equal causation scenario here? I hate that phrase, but let me know if that's what you think is going on. If you like the video, please subscribe, and I'll catch you another time. See ya.
Hey, this is a test of how great we can be, right?